Hello and welcome to the latest instalment of the World Touring Car Championship here on Channel 4. My name is Rob Williams and I'll be guiding you through all the action. Rounds 9 and 10 see a departure for the drivers as we go intercontinental for the first time, hitting the heat of Mexico and the track at Puebla. Only 3,130 metres long, so there'll be 17 laps in each race. After 8 rounds so far, this is how the Drivers Championship looks. Germany's Dirk Muller is out in front from Englishman Andy Priaulx in second. The two Italians Tarquini and Giovanardi are third and fourth. The Manufacturers' Championship is led by BMW, 13 points ahead of Alfa Romeo, with Seat in third. Puebla is the 5th venue visited so far this season, and this is how the weight penalties list is currently faring. Andy Priaulx, driving a BMW, carries a 60 kilogram penalty, whilst fellow Brit James Thompson, representing Alfa Romeo, carries only 10 kilograms. Jason Plato carries only 5 kilograms, and Robert Huff for Chevrolet is completely penalty-free. Current points leader Dirk Muller is also carrying 60 kilograms, but it hasn't stopped his impressive performances. Let's see how free practice and qualifying went in Puebla now with commentator Martin Haven.
Practice, and Jörg Muller's onboard camera shows the dust and dirt on the new Puebla circuit as he goes off into the wall, and the German driver would take no further part in the race weekend. He went off trying to avoid the spinning Giuseppe Ciro. Because of the flyaway nature of the race and the temporary facilities available, he was not able to have his car repaired. Andrea Di Michele, Adriano Di Michele, the second of the Eurosport Hondas, also going off heavily in practice, and his car would not take part either. Roberto Colciago was the stunning success of qualifying. He claimed pole for the first time in the Eurosport Honda Accord Euro R. This car still privately run, but entered as a full runner. And Colciago, with experience of racing in the European Touring Car Championship, just getting quicker and quicker with this Honda. Well, the team believed that with nobody having any setup experience here, they were for the first time on really level ground, and that's why they were able to use their performance. Peter Terting, the fastest, said, "Yeah, Mutti, I'm on pole position." Well, second on the grid. But like Colciago, he would be moved back 10 spots. He had an engine change. Colciago a driving penalty for the last race, and that meant that the third quickest man finally got to sit when the music stopped in the pole position chair, and that was Fabrizio Giovanardi, with teammate James Thompson would start alongside him, because fourth fastest man Augusto Farfus also had a driving penalty, a 10-spot grid drop.
A few casualties in the free practice and qualifying sessions. Let's see how the actual racing turned out. It's the start of the race 1 warm-up lap. Here, as always, are commentators David Leslie and first Martin Haven.
So everybody hopefully about as happy as they can be with their cars, ready for the start of round 9 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. Two 17-lap races around this 3.03 kilometre track. Giovanardi and Thompson on front row of the grid, Alfa of Tarquini and the Seat of Hannay, row 2. Rydell and Huff in the Chevrolet, row 3. Behind Rydell, the best BMW, Garcia, and then Alamenu's Chevrolet. Tom Coronel, top independent in his Seat, and then Nicola Marini's Chevrolet. Roberto Colciago and Peter Terting, fastest men in practice, 11th and 12th. Andy Priaulx finally dragged himself up to 13th. Augusto Farfus dropped from 4th to 14th for driving penalties. Dirk Muller, the only Schnitzer BMW in the race, in 15th ahead of independent Stefano Daste and Giuseppe Ciro, his teammate, in their BMWs. The Mexican Ostreta starts 18th. Jason Plato dropped from 10th to 20th with a penalty. Independent BMW drivers Mark Enrici and Carl Rosenblad on the back row of the grid. No Jörg Muller, no Andrea Di Michele, the independent and the other Eurosport Honda, because both their cars were too heavily damaged in separate incidents in free practice on Saturday. they will not start. Major championship blow for Jürg Müller, a thing he could have really done without. Onboard view, one of 3 from Gabriele Tarquini's car. We also have cameras with Rob Huff in his machine. Here it is, Rob Huff in the Chevy Lachetti. Good onboard views from him. We've got a camera as well with Hodi Kane in his Seat. I say it here, it appears there. Isn't television a wonderful thing? Now I'm trying desperately to remember who the 4th one is. Gonna have to wait for the picture change. Oh, it's with Monica Sips and the Chanel shades, of course. Monica Sips, the boss of the Alfa Romeo racing team. And there they are, under the awnings. Jaime Puig, well, it looks as though it's going to be Alfa versus Seat here. BMW really not that likely to get too much of a look in. But the BMWs do start very fast. They're going to need to here because the Alfa Romeos, the Seats and even the Chevrolets have really pushed them further back down the order. The big question is, how many cars abreast can we get on this Puebla racetrack? Giovanardi and Thompson, Tarquini, Genet, Rydell and Huff. The rest of them all coming into line astern. 22 of our 24 cars ready for the start of round 9 of the World Touring Car Championship, the first ever race here in Mexico. All 22 cars on the grid, the green flag from the marshal at the back, ready for round 9 of the FIA Touring Car Championship of Puebla in Mexico. Pole position on the left as you watch it, Fabrizio Giovanardi. Here comes Antonio Garcia trying to thread the eye of the needle up the middle, but the Seat's getting away very quickly as well. 17 laps to go. Alfa Romeo first, second and third on the grid, but already the Seat of Hodi Kane up into 3rd place, and he holds it going into the first corner. Gabriele Tarquini not so quick away. Ricard Rydell a little further back, and it looks as though Antonio Garcia got ahead of Rob Huff and all the rest. And this is the Seat's view. There is Rob Huff right in front of, no, I guess that's Tom Coronel's independent car. Good start from Coronel. David Leslie in qualifying, we saw how much of a front-wheel drive track there is, and even their better starting abilities there didn't help the BMWs progress very far up the order.
No, they've really been struggling here on this very tight circuit. You can see just you're going from corner to corner, and it's tight corner to tight corner, and that's made a big difference to front-wheel drive guys. They really have been able to use their cars, their ability, their power, and their grip that they've got to get through these corners. The BMWs just have not been able to make their cars work around the circuit. We're not sure why. It was something similar last year at Oschersleben and Valencia. They just couldn't get their cars to work at those circuits, and this is another circuit where the BMWs are struggling. It is front-wheel drive all the way. You can see there, that looked like Tarquini trying to get Passionné up into 3rd place. There he goes. That's Tarquini going through, and that's the Alfa Romeos now back into 1, 2 and 3. They'll be looking for picking up a lot of points. They're still second in the Manufacturers' Championship when they arrived here. I think by the end of the day, they might be first.
Yeah, the Alfa Romeos, not all of them carrying very much weight, certainly compared to the BMWs. Dirk Müller, Andy Priaulx with 60 kilos, Giovanardi with 50, Gabriele Tarquini with 35, and Augusto Farfus Jr., well, he's mired right the way back at the tail of the queue. He really got pushed back down the order at the start. Of course, Farfus starting in 14th position, really tough in the midfield there. On board with the 21 car of Rob Huff, and right in front of him, Antonio Garcia. Now, Garcia and Alex Zanardi, his teammate, for some reason, seem to have really got a lot better of a handle on this racetrack than either Andy Priaulx or Dirk or Jürg Müller in the other BMWs that normally run a little bit quicker than them. So not quite sure what Roberto Ravaglia's team have got here, but they've certainly got something. As you can see, he's in 6th place behind the first front drive cars, but Rob Huff all over the back of him, and right behind Tom Coronel, and I'm thinking that's Roberto Colciago in the Honda as well. All the front-wheel drive cars queuing up behind that BMW. So it is still Giovanardi that leads, Thompson in 2nd, Tarquini in 3rd, Genet in 4th. 5th place is the 2nd of the Seats.
Rydell, I think that will be.
Ricard Rydell. He is ahead of Antonio Garcia, and behind Garcia is Rob Huff. So behind Huff, then we've got the first of the Hondas, the red and white cars. Oh, and clattering, that's Genet. Something has collapsed on the front of Jordi Genet's car. Something red hot and smoking rolled out from under the car. Looked like that was a drive shaft coupling or something like that. It was smoking as it rolled out from under the car. That is race over for Jordi Genet, the Spaniard. Well, he didn't hit anything. He hadn't tagged anything on the way around. It just plain fell apart underneath him. David, that's a tough break.
That'd been really disappointing, because that's right at the start of this race. And it was lying there in fourth place. A good position for Seat, right behind the three Works Alfa Romeos. And I don't know what it was. Something came out the bottom of that transmission, whether it was the engine or the transmission, we're not sure. It could be a drive shaft. But he's parked right on the inside, right on a place where the cars actually want to be. And he parked himself beside a wall, and I found that very difficult. Because I think it was difficult getting out of there. But he's out of the car now. We're going to see what the officials do about this, whether they're going to try and move that car or just let everybody go around the outside of it.
There's his boss, Jaime Puig, the boss of Seat Sport. Well, we saw 3 red flags in qualifying in situations where, in a couple of instances, the car moved off or could have moved off. And they're very, very keen on making sure that everything was very safe. As you say, because he had instantly no drive, the car just stopped dead. It was probably all he could do to stop where he was, never mind try and meander across the track, as people couldn't go inside him. They'd have to have gone outside him. He had no option, and so they are going to have to go a little wider. The grippiest part of the track is the very black part, but everybody's going to have to go round him and make sure they get that exit right, because we've seen a lot of cars in the wall up there, as you would expect to see using a super speedway oval. That exit to Speedway Turn 4 is really one that needs a lot of precision. Let's take a look again at the start. Alfa Romeo's from the front row getting away. Tarquini in third, showing the second of the red cars on the left, not getting away so well. Good start from Genet, got his nose in front of Gabrielli, and Rydell trying to come through. Tarquini defending very hard on the right-hand side of the screen to make sure he didn't lose 2 places to the Seat Toledos. Well, we saw Alfa Romeo finishing first, second and third in race 2 at Silverstone after Andy Priaulx's tyre exploded and gave away a certain win for him. And it looks as though they are romping away at the moment. But look at the progress of the Honda. We've got Rickard Rydell in 4th place now in his Seat, and the Honda of Roberto Colciago up to 5th from 11th on the grid. So we haven't seen it, but I suspect that we might have seen a bit of a problem for Antonio Garcia, because he was certainly in 6th position behind Rydell with Rob Huff. Tom Coronel and Alan Menu should all have been ahead of Roberto Colciago, and they are no longer. Colciago's car has definitely either had a huge overtaking move somewhere or several, or there's been a bit of an embouteillage in front of him, and a very big gap now, David, behind the Alfa Romeos.
There's the Honda, Colciago. There's Garcia still behind with the BMW, and Rob Huff with the Chevrolet behind that. So yeah, they haven't had a problem, just that Colciago is just so quick. He's been quick all weekend, and he is going to catch the Seat, and he will take very little time, I think, in getting past it. He then has a very, very big job indeed to try and get caught up to the first 3 after that. You know, they are stretched themselves away at the moment. But as we said before, Colciago has been quickest all the time. Whether he can make it any higher than 4th, I'm not sure at the moment.
He definitely can. He is quicker than all but the race leader at the moment. He is the 2nd quickest car on the racetrack. And as you say, Garcia, Huff and Tom Coronel, they're all still behind him in the order they were. He has just passed them all on pure speed. This Honda, I tell you what, if this Puebla circuit doesn't become Yas Sport's favourite track very quickly, I'll want to know why. Quickest in qualifying, quickest in the warm-up, still quickest. Roberto Colciago has been on top of the timesheets all weekend. And, all right, it was a slender margin in qualifying ahead of Peter Terting and in the warm-up ahead of Augusto Farfus. But in race trim, it looks like he can really keep it together. Looking back from Gabriele Tarquini. And he has got ahead of James Thompson. Again, we didn't really see that happening, but Tarquini is in 2nd place, chasing Fabrizio Giovanardi. Now, we heard James Thompson on the grid saying he really wants to finish. He's got to get some points racked up. Doesn't want to have to give away places to his teammates, David. But if Tarquini had pressed the point, I'm sure Thompson would have avoided the contact, avoided problems within the team, and thought, well, if he's quicker, I'll let him go. Maybe I can fight back either later on in the race or in race 2. But at the moment, look at Giovanardi pulling away from both the Alphas.
Yeah, Giovanardi is on a mission at the moment. He wants to be top of the Trian Alfa Romeo camp. and to do that he's got to start winning races. He's done that already, one race, and he needs to win a few more races, so he's pushing hard. Tomo desperately needs to get some points. He's lost out on points over the last few races. He had that one win at the very first meeting at Monza, and since then he hasn't won, so he's looking to get it. But here we have behind the Seat of Rydell and Nesta Honda right on his tail now, right on his tail. So he will be looking, he'll know where he's faster. He'll be catching, all the time he's catching him during that last couple of laps. He'll know which parts of the circuit he catches him quicker on, where the best place is to try and overtake. We were trying to work it out. We reckon there's a couple of really good, quite good overtaking places within this circuit, but there you can see he's going to be right on his tail. How close can you get two cars going that fast without actually touching?
The Alfa Romeos of Giovinazzi, Tarquini and Yorkshireman James Thompson are 1, 2 and 3 after 5 laps. Find out what happens after the break. Welcome back to round 9 of the WTCC from Puebla, Mexico. We're on lap 12 of 17. Let's rejoin commentators Martin Haven and David Leslie.
And here comes the change for third. No, he did wall it. Dirk Muller did hit the wall just as Thompson is being passed for his position, or it looks as though Rydell was making a pass. Dirk Muller did wall the BMW, and that has smashed the rear axle. Look at it crabbing badly down the straight. The right rear wheel is just wobbling around, almost unconnected to the car. He's still got steering, David. The front end's going where he wants it, but the right has got dramatic rear wheel steering. BMW will not be looking forward to coming to this racetrack anytime soon.
No, they really have had a real bad time here. Now he's going to try and get that car back somehow or another to the start and finish in order to get that repaired before the start of the next race. Yes, I'm sure they can repair that, just as they're trying to repair Andy Priaulx's car. But here we've got a great fight here for third place now.
Yeah, James Thompson right behind him, Rickard Rydell, and closing in Antonio Garcia. Thompson fighting a rearguard action now, being left by Giovinazzi and Tarquini, and he's desperately hanging on to this third place. Rickard Rydell closed. He's got 5 laps to get by, and Garcia right behind to just add to the pressure on Rickard Rydell to make a move. And I think that the way that the Seat has been catching Thompson, like Colciago before him, he's got the pace to do it. Now, whether he can find the room to do it, we saw Colciago making a good inside move at the end of the front stretch. I don't think Rydell is quite close enough to do Thompson there, but Garcia might be thinking about a move any moment, so Rydell really needs to get a hurry up. This is third, fourth and fifth. Well, Dirk Muller went straight on around the speedway banking. This is where we cut away. I thought Muller was running out wide. Slap, right rear hits the wall. Couldn't turn into the pits, just gone too far round. An entire 3 kilometers to drive with a really badly steering car. Tom Coronel's view of it shows how badly the car was crabbing as he just sneaked by. So Coronel picking up the place, then he goes up into 9th. But still, this battle for third. Giovinazzi and Tarquini, I think that's a given. Thompson, late, and that's exactly where Turting ran out of road, exactly where Nicola, oh no, not a different corner to where Nicola Rini went off in qualifying, but Thompson running out of road, just too deep in on the brakes, and, well, Rydell very late as well, just, I think, bumped him up the backside, and as he wriggled his way through. 4 to go, as the leaders have crossed the line. These guys coming up behind them. So Rydell now on the podium for Seat, winner at Silverstone in their 1-2 finish, their first ever in touring car racing, don't forget, with Plato behind him. Plato way further back. Can't find him, in fact. So there he is in 14th. Oh dear, has not made good progress from 20th, Jason Plato. But here comes Zanardi, and Zanardi's got some front end as well, David. Something we haven't seen from the BMWs is either front end or rear end grip, but he looked as though he had better front end grip then than Thompson. I wonder if Thompson's tyres were just too old at the beginning of this race, whether he'd used them too much in qualifying, or whether he's just not gone the right way on the setup, maybe to match the different conditions today.
I'm not sure what he's done, but he certainly hasn't been able to match his 2 teammates who are out there first and second. But Garcia is really piling on the pressure on the back of Thompson just now, and he's got 3 laps in which to try and get past him, and it's very tight, as we said, around here, quite difficult to pass. There are certain places better than others. There we see Dirk's car. He's in there taking the wheels off to have a look. We've seen it as we've seen the pictures of the car crabbing at the back, but he's caught the front, or he's caught somebody or something with the front as well. But they need to dive into the right rear and fix whatever's broken there. But they're checking all of the car. They've got some time before the checkered flag comes out to do some repair work. Once the checkered flag comes out, then they're going to stop working on the car, and then they're going to wait until the park fermé time, the close time is finished. There'll be a whistle blown, and then they can start working the car. They've got 15 minutes in which to work on the car after that, and then get it back onto the grid ready for the second race.
One of the advantages of that pause between the checkered flag and the start of the repair time, although obviously in real time, time continues, effectively it's time they can't do any work anyway. What they can do is stand and have a really good look, get all the bits they need without rushing, make sure they've got everything lined up, exactly every single nut and bolt they need. And Priaulx's back out. Well, that's a great job by the RBM team, and this is his chance then. He has got 2 laps left now after this one, at the end of this one rather, to get a handle on his car ready for the second race. And was that Menu's car coming back out of the pit road? I think it probably was. Still, Rydell in third, Thompson hanging on to fourth ahead of Garcia. 2 to go, 15 of 17 completed. More battles further back as well. Looked like Peter Terting trying to, oh no, Stefano D'Aste trying to gun by Augusto Farfus, or maybe it was Farfus trying to put a move on Tom Coronel further back, with Rob Huff then.
Yeah, Rob's really trying to hang on to the back of Terting. Now this is a really good result for the Chevrolet team. They managed to do a little bit of testing before they came out here to Mexico, and they are moving up the field all the time. But you can see here Garcia right on the back of Tomo, rubbing the back bumper. That's what Rydell did the lap before.
Oh,
that's bad news. That's not good.
30, that is Stefano D'Aste.
Oh, that was very lucky. Didn't take somebody out there.
Hot Wheels indeed. Yeah, that was a big lose, and in fact that was where, if he'd gone straight on where Nicola Laurini's car was backed into the wall very heavily. There is the top independent, Tom Coronel, just ahead of this. In fact, that's the Mexican driver, Mastrato, Carlos Mastrato, just ahead of Rosenblad, Henrici, and the rest of them. Top 2 are Italians in Italian cars. It is still Fabrizio Giovanardi from Gabriele Tarquini. And the cameraman just giving the Alphas a little bit of airtime again as they head on to the final lap here in Puebla. Third place, Ricard Rydell, heading away from the rest of them. And still work going on. It's that right rear corner. They need to rebuild the suspension, the arms that hold the wheel in the right alignment.
Yeah, some of that suspension that bolts the upright onto the chassis is causing the problem. That's bent or it's broken, so if you get that off, put a new one on. Somebody will have decided what it was. Somebody else will have gone off and managed to get the necessary bits and pieces, and while it's coming off, the bits will be arriving for it to try and get that done. And they want as much work done, as we said, before the parc fermé, the situation when the race ends, where they have to stop working the car before they get there. 15 minutes to service them and fix any problems. To get back out. So while this race is running, they can do any sort of work on it, but once the race is finished and the checkered flag comes out, that work has to stop until they get their allocated 15 minutes. But here we see Giovanardi out front having a little bit of a space down between himself and Tarquini, but very dominant Alfa Romeo here with these first 2. James Thompson is struggling a little bit. He's now fallen back into the clutches, we said, of Rydell, and Garcia's all over the back of him trying to take that place away from him as well.
Around the final turn of the speedway here, the 2 Italians, Fabrizio Giovanardi and Gabriele Tarquini, both former European Touring Car champions for Alfa Romeo. They claim a 1-2 result. Ricard Rydell should appear third in the Seat, assuming he doesn't put it in the wall, and there he is coming in under the team. Fourth, Thompson holds on. Fifth, Garcia. Sixth, Chevrolet's best finish to date in World Touring Car Championship action, indeed in any European touring car action of any kind, is the result for Rob Huff. That's a very good run from Huff and from the RML engineered Chevrolet Lechettis. Rob Huff last year racing in the British Touring Car Championship as the number 2 at Seat. And he is fast establishing himself as joint number 1 with the established superstars Nicola Laurini and Alain Menu in the Chevy outfit. He seems to be having, at the moment, the best of the results for the Chevrolet team. Behind them, We will catch up with the remaining positions. I'm afraid the timing screens died on us at lap 7. Now they've finally clicked into life that the race is over. So Giovanardi, Tarquini, Rydell, Thompson, Garcia and Huff the top 6. Peter Terting 7th, Tom Coronel top independent in 8th. Farfus from 14th to 9th, Larini in 10th, Plato 20th to 11th, Daste, despite that grassy moment, 12th, Zanardi 13th after that clash, 14th Ciro, Mastretta, the Mexican driver, in his Seat in 15th, Carl Rosenblad and Mark Henrici, their independent BMWs, the last of the real runners. And then Dirk Muller, Andy Priaulx, Roberto Colciago, Alain Menu and Hori Canet all falling by the wayside for one reason or another. 5 cars where teams have a lot of work to do.
Plenty for the 71,000 strong crowd to enjoy in race 1. Remember, the top 8 in race 1 are reversed on the grid for race 2. It's the warm-up. Here's Martin and David with the lineup.
Cars on the grid ready to start. The green flag lap led away by Tom Coronel in the independent Seat Toledo Sport, and on the right of your picture, Peter Terting, second fastest in qualifying. Didn't start there because he had to change the engine on his car. It went sick on him. Started from 12th, not second on the grid. Came up to 7th place at the end of race 1. The inverted top 8 means that he will start on second spot on the grid. Don't forget, his car should have been there on pace alone. It might be very BMWs to match Terting's pace. Third quickest in the morning warm-up, just a couple of hundredths, 0.4 of a second behind the fastest car, that Honda of Roberto Colciago. He starts at the back, so too does Dirk Muller, so too does Andy Priaulx, and it looks as though Hori Canet will start from the pits. Hori Canet's car, we think broke a drive shaft. We think he will start from the pits. So he will be last of all. Alain Menu, we are hoping, will start as well. We have to look at the halt in the lane towards the back of the field in race 1. Priaulx, Colciago, Menu, Muller and Canet. Tom Coronel then, the view from the pole position man. I'll tell you what, the day that the GR Asia team with their independent Seat can get a pole for real, that'll be a happy day for them. Looking back from Gabriele Tarquini, there's the race 1 winner, Fabrizio Giovanardi. They'll line up 7th and 8th, Tarquini 7th, Giovanardi 8th, so alongside each other on this concrete walled starting straight. With Rob Huff, he'll line up 3rd. Ahead of him, 2 Seats. What can the Chevrolet do about them? Can he claim even their first podium? There is Canet, stationary as he was for most of race 1, hopefully now fixed, stationary at pit out and ready for the field to go. 22 cars coming to the grid, 21 in fact, with Hori Canet in the pit lane. The green flag waving at the back of the field. Seats on the front row, on the left-hand side of your picture. Poleman Tom Coronel, on the right, Peter Terting. Watch for Garcia's BMW behind the second car. Here he comes with the blue nose, wheel spin for the Seat, and he's not made the best of the starts. That is a big mistake by Antonio Garcia. Peter Terting gets his nose in front. Tom Coronel slots into 3rd. Rob Huff in 5th, gets pushed out by James Thompson's Alfa Romeo. There's a view from Tom Coronel in 3rd. Garcia needed to take that win. We saw how well Andy Priaulx started behind 3 front drive cars at Silverstone. Garcia not getting the revs up enough. Thompson 4th, Huff 5th. Rydell in 6th position as he was off the grid, and already the Honda coming very strongly. Goodness me, where's he come from? Right up towards the tail of the field. Somebody's turned around backwards. That's Zanardi again. First lap incident for Alex Zanardi, but with our leaders again with Rob Huff. There is Thompson in front of him. Thompson faded after being 3rd early on in race 1, and looking for a move to get by Tom Coronel. Tom Coronel's problem is his older car is a little slow, and Tarquini's out. And that will swing the balance again towards Giovanardi. Tarquini out, Zanardi out on lap 1. David, that's a really cruel blow for the driver of the number 2 Alfa Romeo.
Yes, it is. Gabriele was really pleased to be right up there and second place in that first race, getting the points back on BMW, but something's there. They've been tagged, there's 2 or 3 of them. Zanardi you see spinning. We already see Tarquini's off, so something happened early on for that to happen. And there we see, that's what's happening. It's got across that curb. This is from Tarquini's car, and wondering what's happening. turning into the corner. That looks okay. A little bit wide. Oh,
it was
I think it's a touch. Zanardi and Tarquini is touched, and oh, big bang into the wall for Tarquini.
What a start from Alex Zanardi then. Went from 13th to make contact with the back of Tarquini, who was 7th as Giovanardi eases his way through, and so too does the other set of Jason Plato. Wow, great action there. Still, Peter Terting leads after one lap of 17. And Garcia in second place. Lot of changes in the midfield. Green flags there now. They've passed the danger. Third place, James Thompson. Fourth, Tom Coronel. Fifth, Rob Huff. Let's have a little look further back down the order. Behind the sky blue Chevy, that's Giovanardi. Next up, the two factory Seats, and that has got to be Plato and Rydell.
Now it looks like Cornell's, yes, Cornell that's in fourth place.
Yeah, Coronel's there. The two factory Seats further back, that's Plato and Rydell. Peter Terting found more pace than any other Seat in qualifying, and he's using it now. Garcia, to his credit, sticking right with him. Tom Coronel in fourth place. You can hear how long they spend off the throttle here. So many of these long radius corners. Just can't, chasing, but can't give it full gas, and understeering out. You can see his head leaning really over there to the left to try and kill the understeer. Can't do it by moving your head.
The next car along, which is a Chevrolet, desperately trying to take that place away from Cornell as well, and right behind the two Seats, trying their best with another Alfa Romeo. Then we're back to a BMW, and the couple of places back is the Honda. It's coming, but it's taking its time, and here we are, Huff desperately harrowing the back of Cornell Seat there with a sign "Eat My Dust" written on the back of it.
Yeah, that's because he doesn't wear shorts, I guess, and Rob Huff is showing just how hard it's going to be for the Honda, no matter its pace, to get through, because it's a very narrow racetrack. I mean, it is wide, but the grippy bit of it is very narrow indeed. And as we've seen in the first race, in qualifying, in the morning warm-up, in free practice, if you run offline into the dirt, you run into the walls. Antonio Garcia dropping back into the clutches of James Thompson. Huff going to the inside early to try and defend behind Coronel. He's now just ahead of those two factory Seats, Rydell and Plato, or indeed Plato and Rydell. So for Jason Plato, the better of those two Seats, behind Rob Huff, his erstwhile teammate from last year. Or in fact, if they change around, I think it might be Rydell there. Zanardi is out of the car. That's a big shame for Alex Zanardi. Tapped out of both races here, or in fact it seems perhaps he tapped Gabriele Tarquini out as well, so he'll be disappointed with that. But any race that ends early is not a race that he particularly enjoys. So Rob Huff really struggling here, no chance of a win. What can he salvage out of this? Can he stay in the points? At the moment, dropping down to 6 behind Tom Coronel as Peter Terting eases away. Maybe the German youngster will gain his first win here for Seat. That would really be great for them. A 1-2 at Silverstone, and another win here for Terting would really show that it's not just the established stars that can win with their car. And Coronel, David, still holding on. Rob Huff can't get by him, and the queue behind is getting more and more intense. Every time they come onto the straight, Huff has to defend like his life depends on it, and that's coming up again right now.
That's right, it's coming onto the straight. They just don't quite have the power in that Chevrolet yet that they actually want, and they've been improving race upon race, but here they can see it, whereas when he comes to the end of the straight, it really is moving over to try and keep the Works Seats behind him. But the Works Seats, they've been working very hard through the winter to try and make the car better. They have improved their chassis tremendously, and it's on these tighter, twister circuits where it really is shown. They didn't do quite so well at Monza, where it was a really fast circuit at the beginning of the season, but now they're getting into the circuits that really got a lot more handling towards them. Then they really are showing how good they're doing, and look at Cornell. He's still hanging in there. He's holding back all those other cars behind him. He's not just holding them back, he's actually motoring on quite well, quite nicely, to be perfectly honest.
4 laps gone, and Peter Terting is out in front from Garcia in second and Thompson in third. Rob Huff is hanging on gamely in sixth. See you in a few minutes. Welcome back. Race 2, Puebla, Mexico. And it's bad news for Britain's Rob Huff.
As they finish lap 7, this is just a couple of seconds ago. Rob Huff passed by Colciago, and as he challenges the back of the Honda, Tom Coronel right in front of him. Well, you can see contact there between the two of them. Colciago had himself dropped down 10 grid positions for a driving penalty from the previous round, but he's kept his nose clean driving up through the field. On board again with Rob Huff, showing you just how close it's getting. David Leslie, Colciago flying up the order again after showing great speed in the first race, only for the gearbox to slow him down.
That's right, and he's really been trying hard, and Huff's got onto the loose stuff. Once he's on the loose stuff, he's gone off and tore himself into that newly laid grass, and as it's lifted itself up, it's beached him, and he's stuck in there. So there we see the people on the pit wall, Ray Malek and the engineers, looking to see what's happened. That'll be very disappointing, because they were looking for another really good finish, and there's Rob Huff standing at the back there, leaning against one of the concrete walls.
Yeah, Ray Malek fresh off winning the LMP2 class at Le Mans last weekend with their Lola MG sports car, hoping for a podium here, but it hasn't turned out. And as Rob Huff disappears from 6th position, Peter Terting still leads from Antonio Garcia. The gap stationary at about a second. 3rd place Fabrizio Giovanardi. 4th place, well, it is now, is it still James Thompson? Yes, it is, and this is the battle for 5th and 6th. And Tom Coronel trying to find a way to follow Roberto Colciago, because Colciago is absolutely flying in the Eurosport Honda Accord Euro R.
Tom Coronel really doing very well here as the best independent in this race, but he's seen Colciago with a Honda come past him. He's thinking, well, I can just hang on the back. If I can hang on the back, I'll just catch the guys in front. And he's desperately trying to do that, but unfortunately that Honda, as we said, all weekend it really has been in top form. It was a pity that he had a gearbox problem, pity something went wrong with it. Whatever it was, they were able to fix it. It wasn't too dramatic, it wasn't a massive change to be able to fix it, and they got it up and back running again onto the grid. But starting from the back of the grid, and it's come all the way through now into 5th place. So you have to say that doing a fantastic job. Can he catch Tomo? Remembering Tomo's lost his front splitter. He's been off across the grass, so he's lost all that downforce he had at the front, and put a fair bit of dirt underneath that car. A little bit of flapping bumper at the back of Colciago's car. That was from Robert Huff giving him push when the minute that Colciago went past the Chevrolet. But you know, nothing seems to be stopping this man. Gearbox problem in the first race, but he really is trying hard to get himself further and further this race. When this car comes to the next meetings, we've seen it going better at the last meeting. We've seen a bit of an improvement, but this weekend it really has shown a massive improvement, this Honda.
Well, I think it's going to be really dependent on where we go. I can see it working really well at Oschersleben, probably very well indeed at Valencia. Spa, I think it's going to be a bit dead in the water, because so much of this here is a very medium to slow speed corners, and what it looks to me as a layman, David, is that the Honda is so sharp on turning. It really nails it into the apex on a very slippery track. Tom Coronel just giving us the replay of when Colciago went by him. Tom Coronel and the other front-wheel drive cars a bit more vague as they turn in. It just seems that the Honda's really got it all so pointy over the nose. Spa, lots of high-speed to medium-speed corners. That's not going to really help them so much. What you need at Spa is a rocket sledge. You need horsepower. The Kemmel Straight just kills you. It doesn't matter about handling. If you can't get up the Kemmel Straight, up that hill out of Eau Rouge properly, you've got no chance. Further back, Chevrolet and Seat getting into it, and Colciago now has caught Thompson, and I don't think Thompson is going to have anything like the turn in that the Honda's got, partly as a result of having lost that front splitter. In the higher speed corners, it would make a much bigger difference. He's probably understeering like a nobody's business through the long final corner, that never-ending turnway, speedway turns 3 and 4.
Maybe he's trying. We thought he was a little bit too far back when he came onto that straight. Had he been one lap later, then I'm sure they'll be able to make that move. He made the move before on that corner at the end of the start and finish, down into the first very tight left-hander. But I don't think he's going to get all the way around to the start before he gets past Thompson, to be honest. As you said, his car is much better on these tight corners. He can really tuck it into the corners. When he turns it, he can get right into the apexes. He's running over all the apexes, where Tomo, with his nose splitter at the front, with the damage to his car, it really is struggling to get into the apexes, to get right tight into the corner and keep it in there. And that's what Colciago with a Honda is able to do. He's able to get it into the corner, and I think he'll get a much better line out of a corner. And maybe, I'm not sure, into one of the corners he might, but see, look at that, how much tighter can he keep in there? Now he's kept it there. Can he keep it there for next corner? He's already on the inside. There he is. He stayed on the inside. Now I think he'll stay there for the next one. There he goes, another place taken that Honda really is on the move.
Rides the curbs fantastically as well. As you were talking about there, I was watching him hurling it at, well inside the apex, over all the rumble strips, and it just gets away with it in a way that almost nobody else does, maybe except a BMW hook can ditch hook like that over the curbs. Colciago now up ahead of James Thompson. 4th place from the tail end of the grid. Started in 20th place on the lineup. Peter Terting leads by a second from Garcia. Giovanardi less than a second behind. And now here comes Colciago. 5 laps between him and the podium. I think he's got a chance. He's 4 seconds behind Giovanardi. Well, if Thompson can hold on, that'll be good job by the English driver in his Alfa Romeo, but I'm not sure he can. Colciago's just got to pray now that nothing goes wrong with the car. He won't even be thinking about that. He'll just be giving it absolutely everything to catch the lead trio where he should have been. He should have started really no lower than 8th. He should have won race 1, 8th on the grid for race 2. Could have been a double race winning weekend for Colciago. But ifs and buts are what motorsport lives and breathes on.
Unfortunately, that's what happens in motorsport. You can think you've got the best car in the world, the best possible chance, and then something will simply come and bite you, and all of a sudden you don't have that chance anymore. You've lost out, something's gone wrong. But here we can see Peter Terting really trying hard. He's seen his teammate Rickard Rydell win a race already at Silverstone earlier this year, and he very much wants to be part of that winning team. He wants to be winning as well for Seat. Seat to put a lot of effort into this. This is the second year. They have moved forward in leaps and bounds over the winter, and their handling's been really, really good. They maybe at the really fast circuits like Monza, they struggled a little bit with performance, with power. They knew that, but here certainly, and in Pueblo, they really are on the top. They've been going very well indeed. Rydell was up there. We think that he'd have come together with Colciago and the Honda, and that put him back a little bit. But the Honda, I think it's a big gap to come from 4th all the way up to 3rd. But if he can just even half that gap a little bit and sees that Alfa Romeo on 3rd place, Giovanardi, within his sights, he will just push all the way until he gets to that line, because you never know what happens here if somebody makes a mistake. We've seen mistakes made already. You just get a little bit onto the side and just get onto that piece of dirt, and all of a sudden the car gets away from them and they've got a problem. And you can see there,
Genet walks away from his Seat, so 1 Seat left in the points. That's Rickard Rydell behind the race leader, Peter Terting. Now, this is shades of Oschersleben last year, willing Rickard Rydell to hold on. Bruno the year before, do you remember when the Seats led the race and then got punted off as the Alphas and the BMWs finally caught and passed them? That was Frank Diefenbacher, who could have maybe held on, but just didn't have the power behind to hold off the front runners. Genet's car firmly in the barriers and on board with him.
And we see him come down straight up into 5th gear. There he goes, down to 4th, down to 3rd. He's turned, it hasn't turned at all. Nothing is happening. He's gone straight into that barrier. Behind that big barrier is a concrete wall, which is basically knocked over, really.
Broken drive shaft, we think, in the first race. Maybe that had a knock-on effect. Maybe then something went awry in the steering there. So what has Terting got left, apart from 9.09 kilometers? 9 kilometers around this tight and twisty Puebla track. 3 laps. They are on lap 15 of 17, and Garcia has cut the 0.9 of a second advantage to barely 0.3. We've been watching him getting closer and closer. Are Peter Terting's tyres giving up on him? Does he have anything left? Does he have enough to cling on? Can Garcia somehow get close enough to get a BMW win, which you'd have to say before the racing started would have been absolutely out of the question? Terting three-wheeling it through in classic approved front-wheel drive style, the rear end just being supported by the rear wheel. Terting, you know, will defend with every ounce of his ability and everything he's got left in the car. This to win a race in his first season in the World Touring Car Championship before the midway point. But he's starting to get a little wild. He's starting to have to use the perimeter of the circuit, David. He's really giving it everything. There's nothing left in reserve now.
He knows that he's got a problem with the front tyres. You expect that on a front-wheel drive car towards the end of one of these races. He really is turning in nice and early.
And Garcia's got close, but no closer.
And we can see the Honda's basically cut the Alfa Romeo third place down by half, but 2 laps. I think that's just a little too short for him to get his third place, to get onto the podium. So it looks as though the Honda, having had a fantastic weekend, may end up with a 4th place.
Well, that will still be their best result of the season so far. And Colciago, he's cut what was a 5-second gap to 2.2, but he's only 0.2 a lap quicker than Giovanardi on that last lap, and that's not enough. He needs to be a second quicker, 2 seconds quicker really, to give him 1 lap, as Giovanardi would defend like nobody else has defended. Yellow flags are out there, and that is where the Seat of Horikane went off. So there's a potential pass in place, perhaps on the last lap, close to Antonio Garcia. But I think it's got to be at the end of the front straight going on to the final lap. That's got to be Garcia's best choice. He's got to get the drive on through that long corner onto the main straight and somehow find a way to get by in about 15 seconds from now.
But he's just not going to do it. He's too far back. He really is not nailed to the back of that Seat. He's going as fast as he can, and he's just that little bit too far away to be able to do it. Standing on top of the gantry there is the marshal saying 1 lap to go, 1 lap to go. This is the last lap. Turting will know it's the last lap. He'll have had his board. He'll have been told, you know, it's got 1 lap to go, so he's in there hanging on, trying not to make any mistakes, getting tight into the corners. In the background we can see the Honda still catching that Alfa Romeo. The Honda will not give up. He's desperate to be on the podium. He should have been on the podium already, but 1 or 2 small mistakes there by Turting, and the Garcia's right back on his tail. Turting's got to stick to his line. He's got to use all of that circuits available to him.
Oh, third place! Third place! Yep. Well, he carved 2 seconds out of the Alfa on that last lap, and Colciago has got to be careful. Collision between him and Giovanardi. Giovanardi holds on. Colciago must be careful not to end up with a driving penalty again for the next race. Peter Turting, as you said, David, just hanging on as the battle continues behind, almost drawing attention away from the lead battle. Giovanardi defends again. Colciago so much quicker turning in, so much tighter. Giovanardi can't hold the line. Colciago can. Gio turns in anyway. Colciago's in third. Peter Turting still leading from Antonio Garcia, and into the final corner. I think Jaime Puig, who's been holding his breath and turning blue for the last 14 laps, can now breathe a sigh of relief. The line is in sight. A historic first win for Peter Turting in the World Touring Car Championship cannot be far away. The checkered flag waves as he takes the line. It's another win for Seat. But for third place, was it Colciago or was it Giovanardi? I think it was probably Colciago at the line. Great drive from Peter Turting, a well-deserved victory. Giovanardi finally ends up in third place as Colciago penalised 30 seconds for the collision with Giovanardi, dropping him down to 18th. Dirk Muller still leads the championship, but by 2 as they head to Spa. Andy Priaulx down to third, Antonio Garcia up to 4th ahead of Tarquini, Rydell, Tomo, Farfus. Jörg Muller from 5th, way out to the top 8. And the manufacturers, BMW and Alfa Romeo, tied. Seat racking up the points, and Chevrolet having a good race weekend as well here.
Well, that's it from Mexico. What a great spectacle they put on for us. Next month we return to Europe, and the course at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium will host rounds 11 and 12. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching.